Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? My name is Rob Carmona, and welcome back to another episode of Rob the Mic. So, as of recent, I've been feeling kind of uneasy, and I've been trying to get to the bottom of like why I'm feeling this way and like what's been affecting me, aside from everything that I keep talking to you guys about. But I haven't really been able to pinpoint it. So, what I started looking into was like why I'm feeling uneasy. I started taking out my notebook, taking out my notepads, everything I had, post-its, and anytime I would get an idea, I'd start writing stuff down. And so that kind of led me down a path of not like a self discovery type of thing, but realizing what journey it is that I'm on and what path it is that I'm on right now. But I'm also starting to notice that I guess like within being uneasy and like feeling this kind of way, and like once I've been writing all my stuff down, I'm like, you know what? It's just a season of change for me. And I'm sure some of you have been catching on to that over the last few weeks, maybe even longer than that. But that I keep talking about my interests and things like that and how things are changing and how my focus is starting to change. And I haven't really been putting it all together. I've just been kind of living in it, just kind of experiencing it for what it is. And I think now that it's starting to set in a little bit more, like certain things are starting to become a little more intensified. I'm like, you know what? What the fuck does this mean? Like, what is it? And I do, and I might have mentioned this before, but like around my birthday, I usually start to feel moments like this. I start to feel times like this. It might not be as intense or it might not be as significant, but there are certain years where I have felt it, where it's just towering, where I feel like just something's coming, things are changing, sometimes positive, sometimes negative, whatever it may be, like times of change are coming. And some things are actually here already. And I'm kind of living in it. So I'm trying to figure out ways to navigate my life right now. And as I've mentioned to you guys before, I'm trying to pay attention to things that make me happy, things that make me feel good, why they make me feel good, being around certain people, XYZ, and I feel like right now I've started to notice that like I used to be really spontaneous. I feel like when I was a lot younger, like I would just, if I wanted a burger somewhere, I would just up and leave to wherever that burger was. Like I had a buddy of mine, Adrian. I remember one day we woke up random and was like, yo, what are you doing today? It's like, nothing. What are we doing today? It's like, we're going to go get a burger. So, all right, cool. Hopped on the freeway and I noticed like we were heading south. So we had jumped on the 605 to the 405, start cruising down. 405 turns into the 5. And I'm like, damn. And once it starts turning into the 5, you're like deep in South Orange County. You start heading into like Newport, Laguna, out in that realm. So I'm like, yo, where are we going? So we're going to San Diego. I said, tight. So we went down to Dago to get a burger, fire. And like it's memories like that I remember because we used to do crazy shit like that all the time. And for me, like it was normal. It was normal. Like, yo, let's fucking roll up to Calabasas for this thing. We're like, okay, cool, let's roll. Let's go to fucking San Francisco to go buy some jeans. Like, what the fuck? Okay, let's go. Like, and I started to think about that type of stuff as of recent. And I'm like, this is what I need. It's kind of like my trip to the snow recently with Albert and Yessie. It's kind of spontaneous. Like we talked about it, but it was more so like we were hoping it would happen type of thing. Let's see what goes down. Night before, it's like, yo, tomorrow we're rolling to the mountains. Tight. And it's things like that that are bringing me so much joy. And I need that sort of, that spontaneity, you know? Because I feel like that's bringing so much beauty to my life. And it's not that I have to make last minute plans all the time. That's not what it's about. But I think it's just being open to the spontaneity and just realizing what, if I'm open to life and its experiences, like what that can actually bring me, because I feel like it's brought me a lot as of recent, whether it's with my automotive cultures that I've been kind of shifting, whether it's with my family stuff, whether it's with my friends, like any activities that I'm kind of taking part in, things that kind of come up, that's where I tend to find the most happiness. Like this past Saturday, one of my buddies, Sebastian, hit me up and was like, yo, what are you doing today? I'm like, bro, I'm chilling. It was raining. The weather was kind of messed up. And he's like, tight, be at my house by 5:15. We're going to the Kings Ducks game. I said, oh shit, like that's what's up. I don't remember the last time I went to a professional hockey game. So that was one thing. Two, I've never been to Staples or Crypto now. So I was like, let's roll. Let's check it out. It was a super dope experience. But that, again, last minute, super spontaneous. And not like, even if, like, if I had something going on, that I wouldn't cancel those plans to want to go do something like this. But it's like, it just felt good. There was something about that spontaneity that felt so good. That was like, you thought you had nothing going on today, but life's like, I got you. Go do this. Go smile. Go laugh. Go have a new experience. And sure enough, it was. We got to go into the Lexus VIP lounge, which was super sick. So that was an experience in itself, just to kind of be in that space and just walk around and have these amazing seats where we ended up going. Like, we're right up against the glass, not on the bottom level, but we were where the box seats are. There's basically at that second level, there's glass all the way at the bottom, and we were seated right there at the glass. So it was just like, there was something so cool about being so present for that, and getting to catch up with my brother, talk to him, really jump into stories and talk about all these things. And it was sick. And I'm like, this is what it's about. And I kept having these moments throughout the night where I just sit there and like bask in it, and like realize where I am, realize what I'm doing, that I'm with somebody that I love. And it also kind of hit me a little on the hard side, because my uncle Alfredo, who passed in July, he loved hockey. Like, hockey was his jam. That was like his number one sport. And he played for years, like forever, forever, forever. And his favorite team was the Kings. And it was tight that the Kings won. So I was just like, that one's for you. But it was amazing to kind of just sit and be in that, because I know, for example, he would have wanted to be there if he could have been. And like, because again, he loved the Kings, he loved hockey, he loved being at games, he loved being all about the culture. So me getting to experience that was kind of cool. I felt like he was there with me in a way, because I love hockey. I think hockey's really dope too, but it meant so much more. And I was like, man, this is it. This is what life is going to be about from now on. At least at this chapter, at this point that I'm in, is just kind of living for what comes at me, embracing the change, embracing the spontaneity again, because I need more of that in my life. More of like a, let's go here, let's go there. Plans are cool and I love plans, but plans change, right? What I also have been realizing too is like how difficult and scary change is as a whole, because you don't know. You don't know what's happening, right? Because I think change is always seen as something positive, but I think the fear of not knowing what change looks like is pretty terrifying at the same time. Like, we don't have anything concrete to stand on. We don't know what the change is going to be for us. And that's kind of where I'm at too. I think that's what scares me the most, is like, not that I try to be a very calculated person, but I do try to figure out certain things before I do them. Like, I try to figure out my risks, and I try to figure out what it is that I need, what's going to benefit me, how can it benefit me, and try to research everything. But sometimes that's not it, right? Sometimes life's going to throw something at you and you're like, well, shit, here we are. And I'm trying to figure out what all that stuff is right now. Again, I'm in a time of change, and figuring my placement is difficult right now. It really is. Because as I feel like I get a grasp on some things, I start to lose grasp on others. And that's where I'm kind of at. I just feel like I'm in this weird, like my life is like a rock climbing situation. Like, I'm in like a rock gym, like I'm trying to find out where to place my hands. But I also have to realize that when I'm standing back looking at this wall, I can't always calculate my steps, because when I'm actually up there, I might realize, hey, this piece isn't deep enough to grab, or hey, my foot actually doesn't fit here the way I thought it was. So now this whole line that I was standing there trying to visualize, this whole line is out the window, and I'm halfway up, or at whatever part, right? But it's like I'm at a certain level that it's like I can't just go back down. This is where I'm at, but I have to adjust. Maybe I need to go further left, further right, however it may be. But it's scary. It is very, very scary. But I also think that change brings about so many different things for ourselves to realize. And that's also something too. It's one thing to experience change in life as a whole, but when you start to see and experience yourself changing, it's weird, because it's almost like you don't know who you are. You don't know where you are. You don't know what you're doing. And then you're getting a new version of yourself. So you're like, shit, what's happening? everything's moving, right? So you're trying to get to a place where, again, you have something to stand on. But I also think that because change does those things, it's going to shift the way you look at yourself, the way that people treat you. Because when you start to look at yourself and treat yourself differently, people start to notice that for sure. Like, that's one thing I've been very aware of as of recent. I've noticed the more I start to listen to me, what I want, my wants, my needs in a very selfish way, but it helps me, right? Like it's aiding to myself. It's making me feel better. I feel more confident. I feel more assertive with certain things. I feel like I can walk on my own because I'm doing what I want to do. People are starting to look at that differently, right? And I noticed it. One experience was recently when I went to this like custom car barbecue thing that I told you guys about. That was something that I genuinely wanted to do. I had seen the event piece for it, and I said, you know what? I want to do this because this makes me happy. I didn't invite anyone. I didn't want to. I just wanted it to be for me. And I ended up making new friends and smiling and laughing and sharing a beer and having some food, getting to capture some work that honestly I really, really love. The photos from this event are great. And as you guys see them over the next few weeks, few months, you guys are going to understand. And for those of you who've seen the video, you already understand. You knew what that was. And that was just a part of, that was something that I got to share with you guys that I loved. But I also noticed that because I was doing so, people at the event kind of treated me differently because I just wanted to be there for me because I didn't know anyone. I didn't care to meet anyone either. It's not like I'm going here for a purpose. Like I'm just doing something that I wanted to do. I just wanted to go and hang out and be around a culture that I really love right now and that I really care for and I want to see thrive in the future. And hopefully for myself, like also to be a part of too, to help that growth, to help that expansion, to help that memory kind of stay alive because there was something so nostalgic about it. And I think right now too, nostalgia is a really heavy part of my life. Like I notice that I run towards nostalgic things right now because not just because of its familiarity, but also just what it brings to me, what it brings to my life. It brings a level of joy, a level of love, a level of content, level of understanding. Because I also feel understood in that era because it's what I grew up with, right? Like with oldies, with old rock and roll. It's those are things they mean a lot to me. They mean a lot to me in that era of values and things like that. So shouts to my mom for that. Because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have been exposed to any of that culture. Any of it. Because she was very, like, how do I even explain this? She always made sure that whatever she was into, I had exposure to it at a very young age. Because she wanted me to understand what she loves and why she loves it. So those are things that I run with and I carry with now, like all the time. And I'm like, I get it. I get it so much more now as an adult than I did as a kid, right? Because as a kid, you're just there. You don't really get it. But now being older, I'm like, damn. And even certain conversations that were had that day at that barbecue, I was like, yep, this is it. But it's also realizing the other side of that, which is this is a part of my change. This is a part of me accepting another part of myself and just kind of welcoming something back because something else is not like it's leaving, but again, I'm noticing the shit that's starting to change and what's becoming important, what's not so important, you know? And like on that same note, right? It's like when you're in the change, maybe you don't want to do the things that you used to do, you know? Go to the places you want to go. You don't want to talk about the same things that you used to always talk about. And I know even with, especially I would say in automotive culture, like that's happening a lot for me right now. And where a lot of my homies on the Japanese side, they're starting to notice like, yo, dude, like you don't come out to events, like you don't drive your car, like what's the deal? And it's just like, it's not doing it for me right now. And I love the culture, like for myself, like I love the cars. Japanese cars are never going to leave my life. Never. The ones that I own, I love so much and they bring me joy. Even yesterday, I went out to the garage for a while. I was working on the queue, trying to get some things situated. And I'm just sitting in the car. I just had the car on and I was like, man, this. And I miss cruising it for sure. And once I get some things worked out, which is not that the car doesn't run or like something's wrong with it, but I need to get my whole smog situation taken care of. So I do have a check engine light that I've kind of had for a while. It's just like a little gremlin I need to get sorted out because, of course, it's not going to pass that way. But once that's sorted out, which will be very, very soon, yeah, I'll be out mobbing, doing my thing out in the street, which is cool. But it's like, I don't have to have anywhere to go now. And even before, I was so like, I want to take the car to events, I want to do this, or else I won't take it out type of thing. But it's like, I'm missing so much of that life too, because I love just driving the car. And granted, there comes a lot of places that I can't drive it to because of the way the car looks and because of the issues I have with cops. So that's another shit part of it too. And again, my icks with the culture, which is all the shit that's going on now, which is have then led to what's going on and why I can't go to certain places, why I can't do certain things. Because the way that cops see cars like mine, because they're just like, ooh, issue, ooh, takeover, ooh, this. And it's like, I don't need that. Like, I don't need those fucking problems. You know what I mean? But it's just things are changing. And I don't want to go to events like that anymore. I don't want to go to Japanese stuff. It's very, very rare that I'll turn around, get my ass up, change to go somewhere like that. I'll go to a lowrider event, to a classic event, to anything like that in a heartbeat, for sure. For sure. Because it's just for me. Like, I'm not going for anybody. And if I know people there or I have homies who are going to be there, even better. But it's just that side definitely has my heart, definitely has my soul. It's just where I'm at. And it's hard to realize that change, because it wasn't like that for so long. And I never thought it would change. And I think that's why, because I never thought it would change, and now that it is, I'm like, oh damn, this is different. This is different. And this having those or realizing those sorts of change, like, it doesn't mean that you're better than the person that you used to stand next to, but it means that I think change is like bestowing a different path for you. And for me, I think that's the exciting part. Like, I was so stuck on this like sadness because things are changing. But I'm starting to realize, there's a reason for this change. There's a reason why you're in this period of shift. Because it's not just for anything. Because not everyone is experiencing it around you. It's you. It's something that you are experiencing. It's a very personal thing. Like, for me, for those of you who are watching and listening, if you're experiencing change right now, it's for you. Maybe your environment is what's causing the change to happen, or maybe you noticing certain things in your environment is what's causing you to change. But there's something so beautiful in that, because there's something in your life that needs to move. It could be negative, could be positive, anything like that. Like, the something has to move. And for me, that's where I'm at, is like, something has to move, because I'm trying to find the stability that I need. I'm trying to find the grounds that I need to walk on, because I felt like I didn't have them for a while. And a lot of the places in my life, I still don't feel very stable, but I feel like with decisions that I'm making, it's pushing me to stability, right? Whether it's with my work, with my personal, with my love life, with my hobbies, anything like that, because those are also changing too. Very much so. And I feel like with that same change too, like, it causes, or it can cause, disruptions with friendships, relationships, because some people don't honor the change, and they don't want to honor the change because they want to stay stuck in their ways, or they're used to life being a certain way, and you're just tired of it, and it's really beautiful. And I think if the people around you really loved and cared for you, they would honor that, and they would stand by you changing. They would stand by, and they would notice that, this person that I know, love, and care for is shifting. And if I can accept that and help them, support them, and push them, they are going to be a better version of themselves, which means they're going to be happier, they're going to be healthier, they're going to be stronger. And for them, that should make them excited in a way too, because it's like, fuck, maybe that change is going to affect me as well. Maybe it'll cause me to shift in some way. And naturally, that will happen. You will bring a sort of light, you will bring a sort of energy to your environment. That will then start to overflow and start to affect the people around you. Because I also notice it affecting the people around me. And it's really beautiful to see that. to see my friends smile a certain way, to see my friends have conversations a certain way. I've noticed that change a lot too. The conversations that I have with certain people in my life, I'm like, this is where it's at. Where before I could only have certain conversations with like maybe one or two people, now it's starting to be like, because my circle has shifted, I feel like I can have real conversations with all the people in my life. And I'm like, yeah, this is it. This is it. This is what I needed. I didn't need that one person, those two people to talk to. Like, I needed to create some sort of really supportive, beautiful circle around me. And that's where I'm at right now, where I've reached that place where I'm starting to kind of see these types of things. And whether it lasts forever, I don't know. But my main thing is that I'm experiencing it right now, and then I can bask in it while I have it. Because I don't know how long I'm gonna have it. So it's like I'm enjoying it for what it is, you know? And I think also too, which is really cool, something I was thinking about is I think change allows you to see yourself like whole. It allows you to see yourself for the person that you are in every way, shape, and form, you know? And even if you are fractured in some way, if you feel broken in some way, I think when you're able to step back and see yourself, you can see yourself in the parts that need mending when you're in a state of change. Is when I think when you're constantly moving forward and you have your blinders on, you can't see anything but where you're going. You don't look down to see any damages. You're not stopping. So you don't notice that anything's wrong, right? But everything could be falling apart. But I think in the change, and even though we can have parts of us that are broken, we are still whole, right? And it shows us parts that need the mending, but that's where your change comes in. And with change, it gives us the time, the ability to make the shift that we need and fill those fractures with gold so that we can show ourselves, we can show the people around us like, yo, I let this kind of change my life, whatever it is that it was. And I'm here, I am whole, even with the parts that were broken. But look at them now. They're fixed. And they're even more beautiful than they were before. And I just wanted people to see that. I want everyone around me to see that. That's a part of, like, for me, I think that's what a lot of this podcast is. It's like I get to show and share my journey through my mental health, through my personal struggles, through my romantic life, through everything that I find and hit these bumps in the road, because it allows me just to kind of wear it on my sleeve that way. I get to show you guys the cracks. I get to show you guys the pieces that are broken, and when I fix them and when I heal them. Because then at the end of the day, you guys get to see the process. You get to understand the journey and say, damn, you know what? Maybe this is what I need to do too. And it's not like I'm trying to sit here and influence people. That's not what I'm trying to do. It's just, I also do think that maybe through this process, people can realize something. Because again, I've had those conversations with many, many people where they're like, dude, I didn't realize that I spoke to my partner a certain way until I started listening to certain things that you say. I didn't realize that I spoke to people this way. I didn't realize that I acted this way until I started listening to the podcast. Not like this is some revolutionary thing or it's fucking life-changing, because it's not. It's just another podcast, you know? But I think what makes it special in the sense is that it's mine. And the people who care about me or who are curious about my life and what I do, why I am the way that I am, like, that's why you guys chime into this, right? That's why you watch. That's why you listen. That's why you support the way that you do. Because this is my circle. This is my network. And if it grows out and it finds people who were never a part of that network, but now start to slowly become a part of it, that's tight. Because that's what this is. You know, it's a collective thing. Like, as much as I'm trying to heal myself, we end up finding ways to heal each other. You know, people connect through the podcast. People see who follows. People see what's going on and say, oh, hey, I didn't know Rob's homie so-and-so was following this too. I'm going to reach out to him. Hey, oh, dang, we're both into cars, this, and that. That's what's up. Hey, dude, I also didn't know you listened to the podcast. Like, I have a friend of mine, Alfredo, who has he has an Infinity, like an older one. It's an M20, if not mistaken. He's probably going to kill me because I don't know. But I'm like, where it's like kind of like a leopard in a way, but I'm pretty sure it's an M20. And he supports the podcast heavy. He always has since day one. Like, he has it on his car. You know, I push him in every way that I can. And it's really sick, whether it's like his girl Arlie who shoots it or somebody else, and they get pictures of the Rob the Mic sticker that's on there, because he's one of the very few people that are out there really pushing the cast that way. But it's really special, really, really special, because, for example, that relationship in itself has flourished in a certain way. And he's had conversations with people. He has conversations with Arlie, like all these things that grow and come from the cast. And it's like, yeah, this is it, right? We're slowly changing things. We're changing the way we talk to each other. We're changing conversation in general. And that's what I want people to see, is that the network here is a place of change, a place of acceptance, a place of love, a place of openness, willingness to accept everyone that's here. Because that's what it is, right? I think this is a good common ground. And I always feel really safe. I always feel really confident to be here and talk to you guys, even if it's being super vulnerable. Like I feel okay about it. It doesn't make me feel weird in some sort of way. But again, change allows you to love yourself deeper, right? And not allow people and things that affect you the way they used to, and creating this sort of strength for yourself with accepting the change. And for myself, that's a big part of it right now too, because I realize I don't have the same threshold that I did for pain. Like, I don't want to allow people to hurt me a certain way. I don't want to allow people to do things that they used to do to me. And I still struggle with that, with boundaries with certain people, I would say. And it could be for multiple reasons, but I am working on those. I'm working on not doing things. I'm working on not reaching out, not being the one to always say, hey, how are you doing? And to realize and respect myself as a person that, like, hey, you deserve those types of treatments as well, right? So the more that I am embracing this new part of me, or this new version of me that's like slowly starting to come to surface, it's allowing me to love myself more, for sure. And the more that I listen, I feel like that love is going to grow deeper. And the more that I can love myself, it's going to let somebody else love me the right way. Because I'm not going to be so in a place of that I'm searching. It's that I'm in a place of being content with who I am and and how I feel about myself, towards myself. The way I speak to myself, my inner monologues, all those things are changing. They're much more positive now. They're much more empowering. They're much more loving. They're much more caring and understanding. Understanding, to be honest, is the number one for me. Because I used to be very, very critical of myself. And it's not that way anymore. And because of that, I've been able to bring myself back down. So like I tell you guys, when I have my moments where I freak out and I have to, like, I know I talked about it recently, where I'll do like my exercises, right? Where I'll put my hands on my chest a certain way, rubbing a downward motion on my shoulders to remind myself, ground myself that I'm here. I wasn't able to do things like that, even a year ago. There's no way. I would always be panicked. I'd always be hard on myself. Like, this is you caused this, you did that. Even if somebody else did it, I would find a way to make it my fault. Because it's like, again, I caused this. It's like, hold on. No, this is not your fault. Everything that people do, the way they treat you, is not your fault. And that's a part of change. That's a part of embracing a new part of myself, where it's like, hey, hold on. This ain't you. But this is you. Be understanding, be gentle, let people carry their loads. You have enough to carry yourself. And it also shows me too that you'll never be perfect, but you'll be in a place where you're better. And that's something that I've always, as much as I strive for perfection with myself, I don't hold myself to that standard where I'm like, everything that you do has to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect, nor do I want it to be honest with you. Because I feel like when you get to that certain point, it starts to affect your ego. It starts to hit you in your brain and your soul a different way. And like, I would never want that, because I see that happen to people where things go straight to the dome and they're all of a sudden a different person. They act some sort of way. It's like, oh, nah, dude. Not like I would let that happen, because I think now, especially with my self-awareness, it's not something that I could ever let get to a certain level like that. But at least for me right now, I do feel that I'm in a better place than I was a year ago. And that means a lot, because a year ago, maybe even a little bit further back, like when I started therapy, I never thought that I'd be in a place where I am today. even in a place that I could think about walking away from therapy for a while because maybe I don't need it right now. Maybe I don't feel that it's doing what it used to do, and that's okay. I think that's a part of therapy too, is like people think it's something you have to stay with for the rest of your life, and that it's not linear. It's actually the opposite of that, and I don't think you should do it your entire life. I think there should be moments where, because if you're doing it your entire life, I think you've become reliant on that, and that's really dangerous because if that ever goes away, what are you gonna do? Like I have family. I don't want to put any fucking specifics on blast, obviously. It's a very personal thing. But I have family who've been in therapy half their lives, literally. And I feel like, I'm like, shit, dude, half your life? Like, not like, I'm not saying they haven't experienced anything traumatic, because I'm sure they have. This is also like one of my younger family members. But it's like, you haven't even experienced life yet. And what are you going to do if your therapist is no longer a therapist anymore? What if they dip out? What if for their reasons they stop practicing? What are you gonna do? You're gonna tell me you don't have enough tools, you don't have enough things that you've taken from this? It's like, because you're not taking anything. Again, you've become reliant on something. And for myself, again, I reaching a certain point that I have, it feels good. Because it feels like, okay, you know what? You can do this. You can do this. It's okay. You can step away from it for a while. And that's actually, I was talking to my therapist about it this past week. And she's like, is it something that you want to do right now? Like, do you want to walk away like after today? And I said, no. But I said, I feel like I'm coming to a certain point where I might actually take a break from it. And she's like, that's cool. She's like, I think that's rad. She's like, you can always come back if you need it. She's like, honestly, I hope that you get to a certain place where you don't need it and you don't feel that it's something necessary. But of course, now at least you understand what therapy can do for you and how it can help you heal, mend, and fix certain things. And not even fix, but maybe even just understand things. And I think that's a big one for me. It's just kind of understanding shit. Because that's why I wanted to do it. So I can understand myself, understand the pain that I was going through, and process and work through it. Right? Not turn around to play the blame game and say, oh, you know what? Yeah, it really was their fault, or it really was this person. Like, no, no, no. It was understanding my place in these situations and how they went down and what parts I had in it and how I can be more loving and more kind to myself and more understanding, and to keep doing the practices that I'm doing. So again, I've built up my toolbox a certain way, and like I feel good about it. And honestly, I hope to soon share that with you guys, that it's like, hey, I'm stepping away for a little while because like I really do feel okay. And I do. Like I feel like I'm in a better spot, and I'm going to slowly continue that process of walking forward. And it's really exciting. Like the thought of that change, which of course being the theme of today's episode, I think that in itself is exciting. It's, I don't know, it makes my heart beat a certain way. I love that for me. I really do. From the most selfish point of view, like I love that for me. And it's very rare that I can say things like that, or I'm experiencing something, or I'm going to do something. I'm like, I love that for me. But this, I really do. And I think with that too, like with change and things like that, like it affects every part of you, right? Like inside, outside, all of it. And I think people will also start to notice that glow too. And they're noticing it for me right now. Like the closest people to me see it. They're like, damn, dude, like, I don't know. Like you seem different. You seem happy with certain things. Like I know you still have your patches, but like you're glowing a little bit different. You're starting to look a little different. The way you act, the way you move, like I'm watching it, is different. And that's tight. I love having those moments where homies they feel comfortable enough to tell me something like that. Say, hey, I just want to talk to you real quick. This, that, and the third. I got a conversation the other day on the phone with a friend of mine. And he tells me that. He's like, hey, before we get off, I just want to tell you something. I'm proud of you because I'm watching you do stuff and I see what it's doing to you. Your photo, your video, your design work. Like I'm watching you, dude. And that shit's tight. You glow different. You glow, you move, everything is you different right now, but it's a good thing. It's not bad. It's all good shit. And I'm like, dude, I appreciate you saying that because it means a lot. It really does. It means a lot that somebody notices that, and then it's like, okay, cool. Not that I'm doing my work so that people can notice it, but it's like I'm doing it for me, and because I'm doing it for myself, I think that's why people are taking notice of that shit. And I know that for other people and or watching and or listening, y'all will understand too, because you're like, okay, I get it. And maybe it's been happening in your life too. Maybe you have been moving a certain way. Maybe people notice that. Maybe you have been doing certain things and people notice that. And again, if they notice it and they start to go away from that, it's okay. Because maybe they're not for you. Maybe they're not for you in this chapter at least. And I also, like I had mentioned before too, right? Like I think noticing certain movements and when you start to isolate yourself because you're moving towards change itself, like that's a good thing. Like again, sit in it. Allow yourself to bask in that because that glow comes from a certain place and you have to sit with it to find it. And sitting with it means sitting with yourself. So you can like unveil, you can peel back layers to go through it, to understand, to push yourself forward. Because that's a part of it. Accepting yourself. And honestly, I think at the end of it all, like something that we also need to realize is that change, at least in the beginning stages, is the hardest part. Again, because you're not sure of anything. You don't know how you're going to go through this new path. But this is where you find out what works for you and nobody else, just you. And you get to exercise tools that you have, that you've picked up, that you've gained, boundaries, things that you've learned, all of that. And remember, those things are for you. They're your tools. It's to protect you against the outside people, outside energies, all those things, everything that affects you in a negative way. To me, that's what it's all about. It's protecting yourself from negative things, negative people, negative places, you know? And again, like we've talked about boundaries multiple times on this show, but the boundaries are for you, not for them. That's for you because that's the line that you've drawn, right? So again, that's a symbol of change. It's a representative of change. Because you're saying, hey, you can no longer cross these bounds. You can no longer cross these lines. And I know for myself, that's what I've been doing a lot as of late, for sure. Setting new boundaries, doing new things, saying no. There's so much power in saying no. And just realizing to yourself, like, sometimes you drag yourself to places because you're like, I'll just go because so-and-so is going to be there, whatever. That's not enough for me anymore. That used to get me out of the house a lot. But I also realized when I ended up in certain places, I was like, it's like I talked about earlier, right? How certain things don't make you feel the same anymore. And because I was dragging myself to go to certain things, certain places, I was just like, this ain't it. I'm just not happy here anymore. And it's sad. It's really sad to to hit those moments. But there's something really beautiful that comes after. Because you're like, okay, if I'm not happy here anymore, or it isn't giving me what it used to give me, what's next? And then that's where you start to seek. That's where the journey comes in. Because now you're going to start looking for things that make you happy. You're going to start realizing what makes you happy, what makes you smile, feel good, feel loved. And it's like, ooh, there's something so tight about the mystery. It becomes like an Indiana Jones situation where you're searching for gold again. Because you had it before and you maybe you stayed there. You stayed in the excavation site and you kept trying to look and find. Maybe you uncovered all that there was in that site. And now it's time for you to move on because there's gold somewhere else. There's treasure somewhere else. Maybe in a completely different part that you never thought you'd go to. And that's like, for me, that's where I'm at, is I'm in a new spot and I'm excavating again. I had to shift worlds. I had to shift countries, all of that, hypothetically speaking. But it's like, there's something so tight about that. There's no fancy words to put it. Like, it's fucking tight. And I'm excited to see what unfolds. I really am. I'm looking forward to it. I don't want to rush anything. I don't think any of us should ever rush the change. I think just let it do its thing, right? Because rushing towards shit or trying to make things happen, that's where it doesn't go down. Because change has its own time. And I think if we can just continue and move with it, it will do its thing. There's no point in trying to rush toward it, because rushing toward change doesn't make a difference, right? Or at least in my opinion, that's solely what I have to say about it. But I hope that I can find myself loving myself more and just continuing on this path, And I was trying to think of some advice for you guys. Like what could I say about this? Because it's a very wide topic. We can still talk about it for so much longer. I think if I had a guest for this one, this would be really cool too. So I would love to revisit this topic with somebody. But the advice that I was coming down to is this: embrace the change, go through the motions, and flow with the water. Let those around you watch you evolve and see what you evoke in others. Because that's what life is all about, is the ebb and flow and just kind of figuring out where you fit, and that sometimes you're not meant to stay there forever. Sometimes you're supposed to just kind of stop in for a bit and then keep it moving. Why? Because that's what we're supposed to do. That's what we are supposed to do. We're constantly supposed to open our minds, open our hearts, open our souls to new and beautiful things, experiences, people, everything under the sun. Life is never meant to be static. You're not meant to see the same things 24/7 all the time, experience the same things 24/7 all the time. That's bad. That's not how you become a better person, a better version of yourself. It's experiences. Life is made of experiences. Open yourself up to them, because the universe has them for you. Life has them for you. And the more that you're open and willing to accept those things, that's where the beauty comes in. And that's when you can kind of sit there and have these like realization moments where you're like, damn, this is what life is all about. And I know you guys have those. Those of you watching and listening, I know you have them and that you've had them in the past. Go after those. Keep looking for them, because that's what this is all about. All of it. So I thank you guys for tuning in to today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it sparks many beautiful conversations. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, an incredible weekend, and I will catch you guys on the next one.